Well, good morning. Well, today's project is going to be to build a floating frame around a canvas similar to this one. What I did here was put about 1/4 of an inch around this canvas picture, and which supposedly makes it look like it's floating. I got both of them on a piece of canvas. It's about 3/4 of an inch thick. And we're going to put that frame around this one. I had started my first project to try it out. And so this is what I came up with. So we'll go outside and we'll start that. I'm going to start out with a couple sticks of select pine, which is 1.5 by 3/4, and they're 8 feet long. And to make them a little bit easier to manage, on my first step, I'm just going to cut them in half. And for this, I'm trying to use all hand tools because my other tools are all packed away. Next up, I want to attach glue this piece of the board to my frame. What I'm trying to accomplish is this here. This is the part that the canvas will be attached to. It's called a strainer. This is my frame. So I'm attaching the strainer to the side of the frame. In addition, my canvas, like I mentioned, is 3/4 of an inch thick, and I want it to be a little lower than the side of the frame. So I went ahead and put some spacers on the side here that'll raise my frame up, thus lowering the strainer. It'll become apparent why I'm gluing this now in a moment here. All right, we'll let that set up for a couple hours. Go on to our next step. Well, with the glue all dry now, we'll start cutting out the miters. And because the miter saw's packed away, we'll use this miter box instead. And now you'll see why I glued the stretchers to the frame, so I can cut them all at one time and don't have to make 2 different miter cuts. It's all done in one cut. So my canvas is 16 by 20, and I'm going to put a 1/4 inch reveal on each side, so that makes it, I need to cut 16.5 inches on the inside. So, just to make it a little easier on myself, rather than content with that little edge at 1 inch, I'm going to place it at the 2-inch mark there. And got to remember then, 16.5 plus 2 is 18.5 inches. So there's my mark. And I got to go that way. So let's go cut this. The first one cut, just use that to measure for the second one. Let's go cut that. Nice. Well, it's time to put it together now. Just put some wood glue on it. And I'm using 18 gauge brad nails, 1 inch. Making sure my fingers aren't in the way. And we'll just keep going around the horn here. Just using a clamp there to hold it tight. Worked out a lot better. Well, here's a little technique. Just have some edges there on the corners. Take a screwdriver, run it back and forth there, and bring those fibers back, closing them up. There we go. Well, before we paint it and finish it off, I guess we should see if the canvas sits. Oh yeah, oh yeah. That'll work out. All right, let's go finish it up. After sanding the frame, I'm going to put on 3 coats of this shellac clear. All right, we'll let that dry for an hour or 2. Well, it's been about an hour and it's dry after the first coat. And what I'm going to use is just this brown paper bag paper and take some of the roughness where the grain has raised because of the shellac. Smooth that out, knock that off. All you need is, like I say, a brown paper bag. And we'll put on a second coat now. Well, as you saw, no pun intended, I was using this miter box with a handsaw. But if you're trying to cut a few corners to save a few dollars, another pun, it's okay. But a miter saw, chop saw, is so much better. And if I had mine, that's what I'd be using. But if you got 1 or 2 frames to make, not a bad way to go. Well, now I need to paint the stretcher black. So I'm going to tape off the rest of the frame. And using some gloss black paint, we'll spray the stretcher. And it's best to take the tape off as soon as you're done spraying. I'll let that dry for a while, and then mount the canvas. Black on the stretcher is dried. So all we got to do now is attach the photo. Or the canvas, rather. Cut a number of different spacers. So with the spacers holding the canvas in, I'm going to drill some holes from the bottom up so we can use some screws and attach it. Well, the second one turned out a little bit better than the first one, even barring the subject matter. I've got this one now flush to the frame, whereas my first one was just a little bit proud of the frame. So we'll go and hang these on the wall, preferably in some museum. Yeah, right. Well, thanks for watching. See you on my next project.